All right, so if you live in a kind of a small area and you've only got a little bit of room to keep a gun safe, or if you're like me and you've got a few extra guns laying around and you don't want them laying on the floor or in the side of the closet in the corner, you want to keep them in a good, safe place, I think you're going to like this video because we're going to take a look at a little gun safe that was sent to me by BlackSmith, and I think you're going to like it. Okay, so this gun safe from BlackSmith is a fairly compact gun safe, but it still has a good bit of capability. The main compartment right here is big enough to hold maybe 5 to 6 long guns like rifles. It's also got a spot for 2 pistol sleeves right here on the door. The other feature up top, it has a small kind of compartment or locker that was good enough to hold, maybe some spare ammo, some other optics, or even like night vision goggles, stuff like that. It has a keypad and a fingerprint scanner on the front that are both easy to configure. It also has a USB-C bypass, so if you run out of power in this keypad, you can plug it up to USB-C and you can power it that way with like a battery or a charger or something like that. It also comes with a key bypass, so up under the keypad there's a spot for an actual key that you can turn, and it'll bypass the biometric above it, and you can open the door if you don't have power or if you don't have USB-C. It also has 2 places to store things like magazines. This top one, I like to store my handgun mags just because it's a little bit smaller and it's right by the pistol sleeves. The other one is on the very bottom. That's where I kind of keep my rifle mags. It's a little bit bigger, a little bit deeper, and they fit a little bit better down there in that one. It has 2 pistol sleeves on the door, mounted on the inside of the door. They're good to hold your extra handguns, the ones you're not using. See right here, it holds a Glock 26 very well. I've got an M&P shield on the one up underneath. It'll also hold pistols with optics on the top. As you can see, this is my 19 with the Holosun, and it's also kind of big enough to hold like a handgun with a weapon-mounted light up under it. So if you've got your full-size gun, your 19, your 17 with a light, it'll go in there. It's not the best because that bottom sleeve is not quite big enough, but it'll stay and it won't go anywhere. So it's a good little place to store your extra handguns. All right, so they market this thing as a gun safe, but to me it's more like a mix between a cabinet and a safe, because when you think of gun safe, you think of that big heavy duty, thick metal with the fire retardant or fireproof material inside. And like a gun cabinet or gun locker, it's just, like it says, a thin metal sheeted locker that just has like a single lock, and it's kind of like the locker at your high school, just a place to keep guns. This one's kind of in between. The metal's a little bit thicker than those little thin lockers, but it isn't fireproof. It does have the lock pins like you'd see on a full-size safe, so it's a little bit more secure than a locker, but it still seems like it might be kind of easy to break into, to like bend those that outer metal to get the door open. But like I said, it does have all those pins, so it would take a little bit of extra time, and it would slow somebody down. I do like the interior. It does have kind of like this little carpet liner inside, which is nice because it keeps things quiet. When you're banging the guns around in there, it's not loud like those little cabinets are. It doesn't rattle. It just gives a little nice look inside, nice touch, and something soft. You're not something like I said, just soft for the guns to rest up against and to touch when they're inside there. The safe comes with plenty of places to mount it to a wall. It comes pre-drilled on the back and the bottom, so you've got plenty of options to mount it. If you want to drill it through the floor, you can do that. If you want to screw it to studs in the wall, you can do that also. Like I said, they're pre-drilled. It also comes with some hardware. These are like sleeves for concrete. You pre-drill it, stick them in there, and when you tighten it, the sleeve expands. Bingo, the safe is locked down. It also has these little rifle spacers that come in here. There's 2 of them. I don't really know how well they mount because they just kind of slide in. There's not really any indication of how to mount them in there. I think they're just like press fit, friction fit, and they're not very deep, so they don't really stabilize the rifle very well, especially if you've got an optic on there, like a scope. It's not going to be deep enough to hold the barrel. So maybe if you've got like a shotgun or a rifle without a scope, it'll work for that, but for me, not so much. So to me, this gun safe seems best suited for somebody that has a small space, that might not have room for a huge safe but wants to keep their gun secure. So that's one good application for it. Another is, if you have a few extra guns and they don't quite fit in the big safe, but you don't really want to buy a whole nother one, or if you want to keep your guns kind of separate, keep some here, keep some there, it's a good option for that, because you're not going to have to pay a whole lot of money and have that big safe just for a few extra guns. And another kind of way you can use is kind of how I'm using it. I keep it in my closet, so I kind of keep my go-to stuff in here, like my handguns and my rifles that I use the most, I put in here. The other ones that I don't use, my hunting stuff, shotguns, other rifles that just don't get used a lot, they stay in the other one somewhere else in another place. So that's just another way you can use it. That's how I like to use it. So I pretty much like all the features that come with this, like the upper compartment, the keypad, all the options for bypassing the keypad if it doesn't work. I like the interior, the fit and finish of the entire thing, but there are some things I don't quite like. The little rifle spacer in there, like I mentioned earlier, is not really useful for me, so it just kind of sits in there and does nothing. And also the safe is kind of too small for carbines. I know it's compact and you can put the carbines sideways, but I would like it to be able to stack them in there like front to back so you can pull them out. And if you want the one in the back, you got to pull all the other ones out to get to it. But it's not quite big enough, deep enough to store a carbine with a magazine in it, and it's not quite tall enough for like a full-size rifle with a full-size suppressor on it. That little barrier in the top, not quite tall enough to fit that, but it's a small locker. You can measure it, you can measure your gun, see if it works for you or which ones you can put in there. So there you go. If you're in the market for a little gun safe that you might not want to spend $1,000, $2,000 on like a fireproof safe, but you don't really want that like $100 like cabinet that's real thin and noisy, I think you might want to take a look at this. Consider it at least. I've got a link below, coupon code, that sort of thing. So just do me the favor and take a look at it if you want. Appreciate it. We'll see y'all later.